Sergeant Alvarez, we can breathe.
Finally.
And by that, I mean the air show is over. We know that we did not do our usual banter back and forth last episode because XO Baxter was just so informative, and I knew nothing of the Navy, and I wanted to know more and more of what NSA Panama City did. So me and Alvarez didn't talk. So let's recap of our craziness at Tyndall. For those of you who went to our air show or Panama City Beach air show.
Gulf Coast salute.
Yes, the Gulf Coast salute. We have gotten raving reviews about how awesome it was. Yes, it was hot, of course. We're in Florida and it's the summertime.
Yep.
But it was a huge success, and we're very proud of all the work we did. Sergeant Alvarez, my Gold Star Staff Sergeant, got super praised for all of his amazing photos on Airman Magazine and Big Air Force website. So I'm super proud of you. Thanks.
Means a lot.
You're so not genuine when you say that. But that was a big to-do, and then we had checker flag immediately after that, so that was more jets and more shooting, so we were super busy as PA.
Yeah, checkered flag, distinguished visitors coming to the base. It was a lot.
Yeah.
A lot crammed into like a month and a half.
Yeah, thus is our life as PA, right? Like, we're usually super, super packed full of big, huge events, and then crickets. And then we're scraping to get stories from people because nobody likes to be on camera. We don't appreciate that. Next big thing happening this month is the Freedom Fest that we have every year on base. That is where they do, the big fireworks show, and they'll have food and they'll have things for the kiddos to do. And I believe this year it's over at Heritage Park, if I can remember correctly, because the marina area is kind of a mess since the marina is still under construction. So that should be interesting. No Chef Irvine this year, but, it's still going to be good. Who doesn't like a good fireworks show?
Yeah, I've covered, not last year's, I think the year before that. And it looked like a good time. They had tons of games, activities.
They usually get like water slides for the kids and like things to cool them off because it is hot.
Yeah, tons of stuff to do.
Yeah. So Freedom Fest for fun, and then big changes for Team Tyndall. We recently had our 325th Fighter Wing change of command. So we said goodbye to Colonel Watkins. He plans on retiring and moving to Italy and doing all these lavish, amazing things. And we are now blessed with the presence of Colonel Christian Bergtholt. And I am pretty excited for him to be the base commander. He's pretty awesome. So what does that mean for Team Tyndall, in your opinion, with a new commander?
Well, usually new commanders, they'll look at everything the previous commander had going on, what they did, what they had in the works, and they'll usually add their own stuff, see some stuff to the finish line. If they like the previous commander's priorities, they'll maybe put their own little twist on it, but generally keep it the same, where they can have completely new priorities, where we have a new captain, driving the ship. So,
and not only do we get a new commander, we also get a new command chief. So heartbroken that Chief Sharp left. So I thought Chief Sharp was such a amazing chief. He cared so much about the airmen, and you could tell. Not to say our new command chief is not like that, but I have yet to meet him. So we welcome our new chief, and his name is Lucas. So I think the two of them, Colonel Bergtholt and Chief Lucas, are going to do great together.
Yeah, it should be a nice, strong command team.
That more than likely makes or breaks the base, right? Especially with all the things that we're doing here, like with the rebuild and all the new jets coming in. That's a lot to take on. It's a hard pill to swallow, I guess.
Like command teams, not influence, but they're
expected to know what to do in every situation, but how do you know what to do in these situations that we have when very few people go through it, right? Especially this rebuild stuff. Like, who has done this before? No one, you know? I mean, that's just my perspective. I'm sure the commanders, once we interview Colonel Berchtholt, which will be our next episode as the new commander, he'll explain a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, but command teams, specifically the wing command teams, affect a lot, even down to just like everyday airmen, like their morale and everything. Is there's, you know, not every commander is the same. Not every commander is outgoing and puts, you know, airman number one, unfortunately. I think we've been lucky at Tyndall to have, you know, several commanders, you know, back to back that definitely cared about the airmen. And I think when you walk around base and talk to them, you can tell.
100%. Our commander, our WSA, well, technically he's CPTS, but he oversees PA, right? Because we can't just directly report to Colonel Berchtholt. So our commander, Major Artman, he is such a genuine person, and he cares so much about how everybody's doing, what he can do better, how he can, you know, bring up morale. I love that. I really do.
Very important quality to have as a commander.
Yes. And I think if you do possess those qualities, you will go further in your career, and you will be, and this is not the goal of all people, but you will be loved by more of the masses, you know, than if you're just there and you're disciplined and you get the job done. You know, the people are what matter because they're the ones getting the mission done. I am excited for Freedom Fest. This might make me sound sad, but it's because I don't go out and socialize. But I love America and I love fireworks. So going to Freedom Fest is an excuse for me to socialize and be proud to live in America.
Two birds at once.
Comments. The worst.
You do socialize though. Like, you kind of have to as media chief.
Okay.
I mean, I guess maybe not like in your personal life.
Yes.
Like you have
in my personal life, absolutely not.
You have your circle that you know.
Yes, I believe in quality over quantity, right?
That's important.
Yeah, but my quality individuals do not live here. So I'm perfectly content in my house by myself.
The hermit life.
But at work, I have to be that bubbly, social butterfly, and that's fine and dandy. I enjoy it at work, but by the time I get home, I cannot mentally socialize with anybody anymore. So, hence my loneliness.
I get that, yeah. Our job forces us to socialize, so depending on your personality type, that could, you know, use up all your social battery.
Yes. Ooh, I like that. I like that analogy. It's a social battery, and by the time I get home, it is drained.
Yeah.
I do feel bad, though, because when it comes to, like, my kids, it's summer, right? And my kids are like, Mom, let's go to the water park. Let's go here and there. And I'm like, I can't. I don't have the mental capacity to do that. I do it regardless, you know, because I want to be a good mom and make sure they have a fun summer, but oh my God, is it draining? Have you been to your baby's a baby, so you haven't.
My baby is a baby.
I can't wait. I can't wait for you to have like 3 or 4 kids and have to go to like an amusement park with them. I can't wait for that. Oh God. It's if you have anxiety, like social anxiety, amusement parks is where it will kill you.
Yeah, I don't like big crowds.
No, it's bad. But if you don't do it,
well, you have to bite the bullet for the kids. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so coming up, this topic was requested for us to talk about. We're gonna bring in emergency management, and we're gonna talk about hurricane season. It's here.
It is.
In Tampa, when we were stationed at MacDill, it's a little less likely that hurricanes hit smack on in Tampa because of where it's located. So it was just hurricane parties. We really didn't prep for anything. But here, different story. Like when you hear all the horror stories about Hurricane Michael, you're like, okay, no, this is a for real chance that it could wipe us out again. So we'll be talking about all the preparations you need to be making, your evac plan, like how you need to get your family ready, all the things hurricane. And you, being a Florida native, you grew up in Miami, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever get hit with a hurricane down there?
Funny.
Shut up.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you do?
We never evacuated or anything.
What?
No. We always...
Did you ever get hit with a big one? Like 4 or above?
I think so.
What?
I want to say, yeah. I'd have to look at how many hurricanes have hit South Florida, but I know like the big one for Florida was Andrew.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think in the 80s or 90s.
Yeah.
There was a bad one when I was little because I remember my dad was a cop, so he had to go to work and stuff. And I remember for some reason, I forgot why, but we had to go pick him up at the police station. Mm-hmm. And driving through like the flooded streets and stuff.
Lord, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, I know. Now I know. As a kid, I was like, wow.
Wow, I could touch the water through my window.
Yeah, and I remember like water getting into the car.
What the heck, Alvarez?
Yeah. Oh, what the heck me? What the heck my parents?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, and I remember, middle school, high school and stuff. Like we had some more. Never any like.
But you never left.
No.
You're part of the problem. You're part of the problem.
There was never any evacuation orders.
I guess South Florida is a little more stubborn than us panhandlers.
It's also very densely populated, so
that's true.
I can imagine trying to evacuate.
Like mass chaos, right?
Yeah.
The highways would just be bumper to bumper, and yeah, that's very true. And there's like, 2 major highways going up all of Florida? Mm-hmm. Oof.
There's a thing, Miami alone is a couple million people.
Yet another great reason not to move to South Florida.
It's been a little, I think probably about a year since I've been to Miami, but every time I go back there, I'm glad I left.
Yeah. Same. Like this weekend, I'm going to Tampa to visit my friends, but that's about all I'm doing. Because it's just become so gross. Like the traffic is gross. All the buildings. Where I used to live, I had a farm field behind me, and that's why I bought my house, because I could go up and pet the cows behind my fence. But now it's like a development, and I was like, oh no, this is like too much. It was such a pretty area, now it's just too populated and gross.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we never got any evacuation orders, probably because of that. Lots of people trying to evacuate at once.
But so I'm torn. Like, do they do that intentionally, knowing that the mass chaos could cause more harm than damage? Or are they just like, we're Southern Floridians, we'll figure it out?
Yeah, I mean, everything already is built up to, the highest hurricane code possible.
Miami-Dade standard. That's right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
will some buildings get damaged still? Yeah.
Yeah.
Will still flood.
Will people still be swimming in streets with alligators? Absolutely.
What gets really bad, like notoriously bad, is people trying to get gas for the generators after the storm.
So
that
goes into
literally violent.
Yeah, that needs to be part of your prep. Like, have those gas cans already in your garage. Like, if you're mowing your grass, I lied. If you're living in Miami, you're probably not mowing any grass because you're in a condo or something. But if you live somewhere where you mow your grass, just have that extra can of gas. Or you can siphon it out of your lawnmower. It won't be very much, but you know what I mean? Like, it's really not hard. Like, don't be that last minute person, because then you are adding to the chaos.
Yeah. As people want to get gas for their generators to power their house, or they need gas for their cars or something, they wait until after the hurricane comes and there's no power for some godforsaken reason.
Yeah.
And it just gets violent. Like, there's long lines to get into the gas stations. The gas stations run out of gas.
Yeah.
People are fighting over who gets to use the pump.
What was that hurricane? I think it was in Tampa. I was watching somebody, like, I pulled up. I didn't even know the hurricane was coming because I wasn't watching the news as I should. I was watching somebody fill up a trash can full of gasoline. What are you going to do with that? Like, how are you transporting that home?
Get high off the fumes.
I don't know. But I was just like flabbergasted. And then I, looked it up and there was an actual hurricane count. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But you should have at least a backpack full of emergency items, right? I have a backpack with a first aid kit, like a survival kit. Don't judge me. It's got like the cutest little chainsaw to like cut down trees. It's like you just shimmy it back and forth. It's got a little shovel in it.
Yeah, you're going to be roughing it out in the woods?
Yeah. I have life straws in case I have to drink gross Florida groundwater. You know, like things that will help me should the worst happen. Whatever means you have to prep yourself, you should.
Yeah.
And if they send out a notice for you to get out of town, please get out of town. Mm-hmm. So that way, the first responders, like your dad, like my husband, the firefighter, don't have to stick around and help you when you make dumb decisions. Because then you're putting our family's lives at risk. Mm-hmm. Even though I think most of them enjoy the adrenaline rush they get from it. Stick around, everybody. We will be back after the short break.
This episode of Lightning Within 5 is brought to you by the 325th Fighter Wing Public Affairs Shop. For all the latest news, photos, videos, and more, check out our Facebook page, Instagram, and our official website at tyndall.af.mil.
Welcome back, Lightning Within 5 listeners. I'm your host, Jennifer Jensen, alongside
Staff Sergeant Stefan Alvarez.
And in today's episode, we are talking all things, dare I say the H word, hurricane. Nobody in Florida enjoys hurricane season, but it is necessary that we understand the proper protocol and preparations that we need to survive the season. So today on the show, we have from the Office of Emergency Management, which is a part of Civil Engineer Squadron, is Master Sergeant Felipe Gonzalez.
Awesome. Yes, ma'am. Correct. You said
Welcome.
that right. Thank you.
Welcome.
Appreciate you. Yes, ma'am.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Sergeant Gonzalez.
Yes, ma'am. So yeah, originally I'm from Tampa, Florida. So hurricanes, very well versed. Lived with them my entire life. Joined the Air Force in 2006. So I was around 21 years old. Had a little bit of life experience. My last duty station actually was Creech Air Force Base. So across the country in the West Coast. So we still dealt with a little bit of hurricanes, but more with the flooding aspect of them. And then I came over here to Tyndall Air Force Base in 2022 and have been working hurricanes and just prepping the rest of the installation for any kind of natural disasters.
But that is not all you guys do, right? Like there is more to emergency management than hurricane prep.
No, ma'am. So a lot of times when you think emergency management, a lot of the military and the Air Force as a whole thinks of us as CBRN instructors. So we have our CBRN patch. So downrange, we deal with chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear hazards. So a lot of times I tell people, if you see my team, they're the ones in the big bubble suits with our air breathing apparatuses, making sure that we try to identify, cordon, and protect the base on what those non-hazards are, the unknowns. So my team goes out and does that in a warfighting capability. In the CONUS side, for most of the part, we deal with hazmats or man-made incidents or natural disasters. You will also see us once we progress in our career, we deal with more of the Emergency Operations Center, the EOC. So we handle all the widgets and making sure that the incident commander has anything he needs to deal with what's going on scene. So our career field is very well versed in many aspects, and we just try to handle most of them as they come so that we can prepare the base, prepare ourselves for any kind of hazard or situation that actually can arise.
I had no idea that you guys did all that. Did you, Alvarez? Mm-hmm. Oh, of course you did. Of course you did.
We wear a lot of hats. We wear a lot of hats. But again, most of the time when you see our patch, or you're like, oh no, he's a CBRN instructor. They're going to get us in Mach 4. Alarm red.
Everyone hates that.
Mm-hmm. It's fun. It's fun.
Is it though in Florida?
100%. Yes.
Okay.
We're teaching classes right now. Some people come out of their AC vehicle and they're a little cold and they just got a little warm up, so we put you in the suit.
So please sweat out 10 pounds of your body weight.
Better than a no carb diet.
We were talking earlier and you said, yes, you started as emergency management, but you were also doing a special duty, which was military training leader, correct?
Yes, ma'am. So yeah, around 10 years of my career mark, I was asked to be an MTL, military training leader, and I went to Fort Sam Houston, where the nursing school is. So most of the medics in the Air Force, that's where they go and get their technical training. So an MTL is someone that helps the students prepare after basic training to go into their technical school and learn their job and figure out basically the first few moments of their Air Force career, we're still teaching them how to march, military discipline, military orders, just prepping them for that military path, still helping them understand civilian life from military life.
Right. So you were a less intense version of a TI.
Correct. Yes. So TIs, you get there, they're prepping you with all the basic instructions. You're going through PT, you are marching and things like that, which you still do at technical training. But again, our job is to just make sure that they are prepared for school. They're learning those aspects of still military discipline, military orders, learning the ranks still, the rank structures, how to talk to officers, how to talk to the NCOs. Because again, they're just coming from civilian life, and we're still trying to change that culture. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. A lot of kids are, they're still kids. They're right out of high school. I've seen them as young as 17 come into technical training, and we're helping prep them for the military life.
So you're essentially, from what I remember at tech school, was they were pretty much like a mom or dad, but a little bit meaner.
Well, they did come with us. They come talk to us and let us know their problems. So, they would go to school and have to do their tests, their homework, their learning, and then they would be given back to the MTLs. And a lot of times we were their guidance counselors. Yeah. It's a better way of looking at it. We were their guidance counselors. They come vent to us with any of their issues, their problems. And again, our job is to just help ease their transition from civilian life to military life. So if they were having problems back at home because they just joined, if they're having financial issues because they haven't gotten their paychecks yet, or if their parents missed them, or a lot of times they're already parents, so maybe they missed their spouse or their child for the first time. This is the first time for a lot of these individuals that are gone for 6, 7, 8 weeks, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. Some of these tech schools can be up to 2 years, and they haven't ever dealt with that separation. So we have, separation anxiety, military counseling. So we try to help them out. So I would say more of a guidance counselor than a mom and dad, because we're not going to, yes, we still ground them.
Exactly.
Back, we still try to ground them, but ground them back to the floor level, like just ensure that they know, hey, these are the rules and regulations, military discipline order. So that they understand that there's a difference in civilian lifestyle and that military culture.
Gotcha.
Yes, ma'am.
That was a great way of explaining it.
Thank you.
So let's dive a little more into the H word.
Oh, no.
The hurricanes.
Oh, no.
I don't know about you, but I was in Tampa. It was more of the popular opinion to have hurricane parties rather than to prep.
It's a very Florida thing.
It's very much so. Yeah, growing up, we had floaties, and we would get on our tubes and go down the street when the water's flooded, right? And now you grow up and you realize, oh no, I was the problem. Fire department's driving through trying to find me.
Also, let's just start off. There are alligators everywhere, and when we have floods, they show up everywhere, or just random snakes.
All the marine life.
Yeah, what were people thinking?
Stingrays.
They're still doing it though, so I can't say were. But anyway, I digress. Don't do that. That's probably a bad idea. If you are a prepper and you are ready to go, and you want to invite other people over who are also prepped, ready for the worst.
And prepping is one of the most important things. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So let's dive into the details. What are your top things for when it comes to prepping for hurricane season?
Sure. And one of the first things is just knowing when hurricane season is. So here on the Atlantic side, hurricane season starts from June 1st to November 30th. So that's our main time frame to worry about hurricanes. Now, I say that caveating with the fact that hurricanes can still develop, tropical storms, tropical depressions, they can still develop at any point, at any time. But that is our hurricane season. And then the most important things is just to create a plan, stock up on your supplies, protect your home, stay informed, and prepare your vehicle. So developing a plan is including your family. So make sure you know how you're going to keep in touch if you're separated, have a place to go, and what to do in case of emergency. When you're stocking up your supplies, you want to make sure you have enough supplies for about 3 days. We tell people typically 72 hours, and that includes your pets. Some people forget their pets. You want to make sure you still have that dog food, about a gallon of water per individual per day. And then you protect your home, right? Board up those windows, secure outdoor furniture. Don't leave things that'll get picked up from the wind, because a lot of times those damaging winds, 170 miles an hour, isn't just the wind factor. It's what that wind's going to pull from the floor and shoot across the yard. So making sure you have everything locked inside. Stay informed. Watch your local weather channels. Turn local news on your radios if you have those. Prepare your vehicle. Fill up gas when possible. Don't wait till the last second when gas might be running low across the city. And then just make sure you have your emergency supply kits in your vehicles, in your prepared bag, and you're not, again, looking for those things in the last second. So having them close by your exit doors, super important.
I feel tremendously proud of myself right now because I am ready. I'm not a prepper, but I'm ready for doomsday, dude. I have a tote that I keep. I have a huge Harry Potter food pantry. So I have a plastic tote, and I have an emergency first aid kit. I have, the water filter straws.
Oh yeah, those are great.
I also have 3 days, or actually a week of MRE meals. MREs, no one likes them, but they come in really handy during emergencies like that.
Oh yeah, a couple Twinkies too. Throw some extra Twinkies
because they last forever. Alvarez, are you prepped and ready to go, or are you just a hurricane partier?
I'm not gonna lie, I've been a long-standing hurricane partier, but I've been through many hurricanes as a Florida native.
So do they scare you?
Not really.
No.
Unless it's category 4 or higher,
yeah.
It doesn't really bother me. I know that most of our stuff is going to be fine.
Yeah, you would see most Floridians, they hear Cat 3 or below, and they're like, oh, let's go set up our barbecues, invite the neighbors. The neighbors that live in apartment complexes, they might come over to the ones with homes and start to party. You hear Cat 4.
Yeah.
That's when everybody's
time to go.
A little worried now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Your ears start to perk a little.
Yeah. So you weren't here during Michael, though.
No, ma'am. I was actually still stationed in Creech Air Force Base out in Nevada.
Yeah. So that, just as an example, everybody, that happened in October. So at the tail end of hurricane season. Hence why you need to heed Sergeant Gonzalez's, hey, it can happen at any time. Lately we've been getting hit later on in this season.
So correct.
Right?
So the peak for Tyndall Air Force Base and the Panhandle itself is actually from the end of August to around middle October. So that's the peak time. And when I say peak time, it's about 88% of the data has shown that's when the actual hurricanes, the tropical depressions, tropical storms will get formed. And that's when they're going to hit this side of the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf, start forming actually around, the Horn of Africa. And then they come around the Gulf of Mexico and form around there. And your example of Hurricane Michael, if we remember correctly, it was only a tropical storm approximately about 72 hours out before it even hit. Mm-hmm. So it straightened very quickly, very fast.
Yeah.
And then it made landfall. So even if, you're not seeing something 5, 6, 7 days out, any of those small depressions and tropical storms, they can form very quickly, especially once they hit those Gulf of Mexico waters that are very warm. Especially right now
super warm now, right?
Super warm.
Yeah.
And they can just form out of nowhere and come at us.
Okay, so what is the biggest message that you want to get across about hurricane season?
So the biggest things I would talk about is what to do actually for hurricane hit. You want to stay indoors, follow evacuation orders, keep your phone lines open, avoid flood areas, and take care of yourself. So again, with staying indoors, pretty simple, right? Avoid traveling and staying away from the windows and doors. If you're following those evacuation orders, just make sure you know which, if you're going north or south and what the route, what those clear routes are. Keep phone lines open. Depending on the cell towers, maybe they might go down, but if you have an important message you want to send to a family member, maybe use a text message or social media to send it out. Because a lot of times everybody's making those phone calls. So phone lines are going to be jammed up, and depending on what carrier you might have, they might shut down those carriers and only use them for emergency services. So if you want to send something to a family member, it might be easier through social media or a quick text message. I'm safe, I'm in my house still, or I'm on Route 78, I'll be home in about 30 minutes. Avoid your flood area, so know your flood zones. And if you don't know what those flood zones are, our office does provide the maps, so we can tell you what zone you might be in depending on your local area. And then making sure you're not in a vehicle. You don't want to get trapped in your vehicle and then, make yourself one of the issues going on during an event.
So should an evacuation notice be distributed in your area, what's the most crucial thing to remember?
So having a comprehensive evacuation plan is probably the most important thing for you to have, and it's already predetermined with your family members or with people that you're gonna, they're gonna know where you're at. And a couple things you want to do is designate a meeting point, have emergency contact information set up, route planning, make sure you know how you're gonna get there and people know how you're gonna arrive. Pet preparation. A lot of people, you think of your dogs, your cats, your fish, but especially around Florida, we have a lot of farm animals, horses, chickens.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of those animals also you need to prep for them as well. And then special needs planning, if you have EFMP, special needs with your children or yourselves, or if you have elderly individuals that live with you, you want to make sure that you have all the medications and all their necessities with you as well. So choosing a safe location is really important when you're trying to figure out where your meeting point's going to be. Keeping a good list of phone numbers written down is super important because, again, if something happens and you can't get to a outlet, your phone may die. Mm-hmm. And if you've been using that iPhone or Samsung Galaxy to keep your contact list, again, you might want to have a written list of phone numbers. And again, just make sure you have your pets thought of and any of those special needs individuals. Just have enough medication, and just make sure you plan for anything.
So should an evacuation notice be sent out, unless it is absolutely necessary for you to stay home? And I'm not talking about you don't want to leave your home because all of your things are there. I'm talking about you medically, physically cannot get out and leave. How important is that to follow that evacuation notice?
100% important, because again, if Bay County, for example, puts out an evacuation order, they're telling and advising everybody around the county that, hey, this category 3, 4, 5 hurricane is going to produce enough damaging winds that could be life-threatening. So they want to get as many people out of the county to limit the amount of resources that they're going to have to keep. Because if people stay, that means fire department has to stay. That means police has to stay. That means medical has to stay. So when Bay County issues that order, the wing commander is going to look at that order, and he's also going to determine should he follow suit. And it's his determination if he's going to follow suit and keep the base either open, or he's going to close the base and only keep certain individuals here. Again, Tyndall, as we stated earlier, we talked about BRE, base recovery elements, and we have teams that would actually leave the installation, go to safer zones, and once the hurricane or the natural disaster event is over, we'll come back and assess the installation and make sure that the base is ready to reopen and allow certain people to come back in increments to make sure that we know all the damage, everything, to make sure all the damage assessments have been done and know where it's safe to go and where it's not safe to go. But again, if for any reason you can't evacuate, like you said, because of a medical issue, talk to your local fire department, talk to your local shelters. There are specific areas that you can then still go to during evacuation and seek medical help.
Right.
There are specific phone lines that'll get set up during hurricane season, and especially during hurricane declarations. Some of the schools in Bay County get activated as shelters, and you can go to those specific areas.
Gotcha.
And I would say it's probably the most important thing, if you hear that evacuation order, to heed it.
Yeah. I just think of my stubborn grandpa. I know for a fact. I mean, he's in Pennsylvania, but I know for a fact he would just ride it out. He'd be like, I lived here my whole life. I'm not leaving, But don't do that. Don't be that person. Take the professional advice and absolutely have another location that you have determined should be a meeting spot for you or a family member, and just be as safe as possible. Be prepared. Think all of the scenarios through, even if you have to write them all down, and then plan that way. That is the best case. You want to make sure you and your family, even your dog or cat, is taken care of in said emergency.
I'll leave it with this when it talks about the evacuation orders. We had around 11,000 people told to evacuate the Tyndall Air Force Base area during Hurricane Michael, and we had 0 injuries. Nobody was hurt evacuating Tyndall Air Force Base.
That's
That is
really
saying
amazing.
That is
Yeah.
saying a lot.
Yeah.
Because everybody heeded the orders.
Yeah.
They followed the wing commander. They followed the Bay County orders that were issued, and we were able to ensure the safety of over 11,000 people just in this area, not including everybody in Bay County, but just our civilians, military folks, contractors. And that's saying a lot. That if you follow suit and you listen to those orders, you're not only saving yourself and protecting yourself, but you're keeping our emergency services not having to go out there and try to put themselves in danger.
That's something I always worry about. My husband's a firefighter, so whenever something like that happens, he's always the one like first going out, and that is nerve-wracking because you don't know if there's downed electrical lines in floodwaters. Like, it is just a sketchy situation. So
100%.
To save the emergency responders families from heartache, please listen to the evac notifications.
One of the questions I was going to ask is how prepared Tyndall is for like the next Hurricane Michael.
So when Hurricane Michael hit, we had sustained winds of over 160. So most of the buildings that have been built now are set at that level or better, so they could stand Hurricane Michael. And Hurricane Michael was a Cat 5 plus.
Yeah.
I mean, it was strong when it landed and it hit. So most of the installation is set up for that. And here coming up soon, our new Emergency Operations Center is actually about to be finished. And it's state of the art, over $26 million of infrastructure, audio visual. It is going to be the pinnacle of emergency operations centers across not only the Air Force, but I would say state EOCs, county EOCs. People are going to look at our emergency operations center and just be wowed at the way we're going to be able to protect not only ourselves, but the installation itself by being able to handle all events and being able to bring all those different agencies together into one area and be able to then provide resources to the incident commanders on scene.
I love that. Installation of the future. Even in emergency management, we are making leaps and bounds, showing the rest of DoD how it should work, right? And that's not just infrastructure. That's like the technology we're bringing in and
just the standards that we're following now.
Yeah, exactly. Here's an off-the-wall question. We've had a lot of water spouts lately. Do you guys get taught any protocol on what the heck we're supposed to do during a water spout?
So water spouts, we would say use it as an example as a tornado.
Yeah.
So similar to tornadoes, they form, and you think twisters. So we would tell you shelter in place, stay inside. If you're outside and you see one, try to get back into a middle of the building area, stay away from the windows, and just keep an eye on it if you can. But more than likely, just try to go inside.
Hunker down.
Hunker down,
Yep.
Again, because if the water spout makes landfall, then it becomes that twister, that tornado.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the main differences between a tornado and a water spout is just a water spout gets formed over water and the tornado gets formed over land.
I don't know why water spouts remind me of Sharknado. Is it just me?
I mean, with everything that's going on around most of our beaches right now, yeah, you get one of those water spouts,
seriously?
low-end sharks, right?
Also, this is unofficially from the safety office. Don't be mad at us because we closed our beaches. People were getting attacked by sharks. That was crazy. And I read something like there were so many, like hundreds of sharks right off our coasts because there was like this certain type of feeder fish, like big schools of these fish, and they were following the fish.
Oh yeah,
that's crazy, right?
But that's why Panama City have those beach flag colors.
Yeah.
I think one of the attacks, a girl lost half her leg and her hand, one of her hands.
Yeah,
That's because there's 3 attacks and 2 of them were critically injured.
Can you imagine going to the beach, enjoying your day out in the water, trying to cool off, and then you're missing an arm? How devastating is that? Like, Florida, we are not okay. Like, we have alligators, we have sharks, we have venomous snakes all over. Like, be cautious.
But we also have beautiful sunshine.
We do.
Sunshine State.
And very clean beaches. I know I saw something on social media about a tourist who came to visit us, saw our beach flags and had no idea what it meant. It was a double red flag for them. which means red light, stop. If you're on the beach, just stop if you see a red flag. But can you explain to everybody the flag system?
I can, yes. So when you're visiting the beaches of Panama City, Florida, you're going to notice a lot of these flag conditions, right? So we do have a few flag conditions. We'll start off with red flag. It's high hazard, strong currents, rip currents, or strong waves are present. Swimming is not recommended. So just because you see a red flag doesn't mean you can't go swimming. It's just not recommended. Yellow flag, high hazard, caution is advised. Swimming is possible, but with caution, be aware of strong currents or rip currents. Green flag, low hazard, swimming is generally safe. However, it's still important to be aware of your surroundings and check with lifeguards for any condition changes. Purple flag, now we're talking about actual like high hazard, so environmental hazards, marine life hazards. So you might have seen the purple flag if you've gone to the Panama City beaches right now because of the local shark attacks we've been recently receiving. Double red flag. Here's the big one. No swimming. Swimming is not allowed due to extreme hazards such as strong currents, heavy surf, or other dangers, to include marine life. A lot of people think when they hear no swimming, it's because of just the currents or a hazard in the water itself. But again, it could be marine life present, and it could just be a stranded dolphin or manatee, and they're just going to go out there and protect it. So just be really cautious when you're looking at these flags and know them, because they will find you. That's the big thing. I believe it's up to $500 that the local stations will find you.
Yeah. And they do patrol all the time. I know down at PCB, they're heavy on patrolling the beaches. I always thought the double red flag, yes, I knew it was like no swimming, but I always assumed it was meant for like the rip currents. Those terrify me. Just thinking like my kids could get sucked out in one of those. And you, as much as you want to tell them, like if that happens, you're supposed to relax and let it take you, a child is going to panic. Right. You know what I mean? And that is awful if you would have to go through that as a parent watching them get sucked out into the ocean.
And it affects the rescue efforts. So understanding what those flags means might help save a life.
Yeah.
Those lifeguards are out there patrolling, like I said, all the time patrolling. And when someone goes down, they're risking their lives to actually go save someone. And a lot of times, like you said, a child's going to pull someone in.
Yeah.
An adult might try to pull someone in. So understand those flags might keep you from potentially putting yourself or anybody else at risk.
So what's your favorite part of being EM?
Working in the Emergency Operations Center, to be very honest.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. So I really enjoy when an event happens, good or bad, to be honest, and just helping out the incident commander. So managing the scene from that level of purview is really, really amazing for me. I get to see how all the other functions in the Air Force, Logistics Readiness Squadron, FSS, medical, fire, all of the different agencies in CE, public affairs, all the wing staff agencies, we all come together to support that incident commander. So for me, seeing those efforts and how they all combine, like little tiny lions combine into Voltron and go save the day. That's how I look at it. I mean, we're all...
I was making like a Captain Planet reference in my
right,
head.
Yep. We all got our rings and we got to, call
Unite.
Captain Planet. Yes. So I look at it like that. Yeah, we're all these different agencies, and we come together in one center to support the scene, support what's going on. And to me, that's probably my favorite part of the job, is helping secure and safe a scene and restoring it back to normal, mitigating those actions.
Yeah. So I know you said that the like hazmat side is usually like downrange, but do you guys go out when there's a fuel spill? CONUS?
So yeah, hazmat can be CONUS depending on the situation. So when we think of hazardous materials, TIC-TIMs are mostly what we're going to deal with on the CONUS side. So overseas, we'll deal with our chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear items. On the state side, we'll deal with more of the TIC-TIMs, which is toxic industrial materials, toxic industrial chemicals. So we'll go out there and deal with those hazardous materials, hazmat, and same thing, we'll go out there, try to identify what they might be, try to cordon the area, do some defensive measures, plug and patch a drum if that's the issue. We support the fire department. It just depends on the situation, what they might need to task us to do. But yeah, on the state side, if it's a fuel spill, we'll go out and support, depending on the size of the fuel spill. We'll go out there and help.
So are you a prepper? Like, do you have your stash at your house, or are you just like preaching these things?
I have many stashes around the country. Actually, I am a prepper, I would say, because I have family members in different parts of the country, and every time I go there, I leave a bag with specific items and say, hey, if something happens in this part of the country, I'm gonna come to you, and here's my bag of stuff, and I'm gonna leave it here, and in case something happens, I 100% I think I'm a prepper. My house right now, I have probably 3 or 4 different 72-hour bags, depending on the situation. So it's I'm not just set for one situation. And then I have my wife and 3 kids, and so I got all their sleeping bags, all their stuff packed and ready to go in case something happens. 2 dogs, 5 cats. So,
oh my God!
Oh yeah, I got a lot of pets. So
you have a zoo.
Oh, I got a zoo, so I got to make sure everybody's ready to go.
So in an evac situation, is one vehicle just the animal vehicle for you?
I have a Jeep. And Jeep life, man. I take the top off, throw all the kids, dogs, cats in the back. We're heading north. We're heading south. Yeah. Oh no.
Lord.
And if need be, I'll put stuff on the roof rack, and we're heading out.
Yeah.
I always joke we have what's called the base recovery element, and here on Tyndall Air Force Base. And if something happens, some of our members will have to leave the installation, go somewhere. And I always joke with my CE officers that if that's the case, I'm on one of the teams. We're taking my Jeep, and that's the lead vehicle because my Jeep will get through whatever damages are on the roads.
Oh, you have like one of those off-road Jeeps?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
steel
dope.
bars, lights on the top. It's all metal. It's not plastic anymore. My Jeep started off plastic. It's all steel metal now.
Dang. So you're ready for like zombie apocalypse type prep.
I try not to go that far deep, but I like to say I've pretty much thought about any situation that could arise, and I've put some kind of prepping into that situation.
I like that. Have you ever watched the shows with the preppers? Some of them are intense, man.
Yeah, they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on like the underground bunkers and stuff.
Connex box?
And,
I would if I had the money.
If I could get a $10,000 Connex box under my house, I would have one.
100%.
Oh yeah.
You wouldn't? Or you're just like, meh. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen.
I mean, I don't know if I'd pay that money for
I would.
Underground
If I
bunker.
had stupid amounts of money, I would definitely there's one out in the middle of nowhere. I saw that I guess all these rich families like combined as like a community, and they even have a pool. Like
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's like
an underground pool.
It's like a multi-level like underground like a hotel
like
basically.
looks nicer than my house.
Have you seen the new Fallout TV show?
Yes. Oh God, I love that
underground
show.
Little Fallout shelter with all the different farms underground. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Genius,
little communes.
Yeah, I would totally do that. Totally. Does that make me weird? No, I'm prepared.
Not on the prepper side.
I'm prepared. I even went to the extent of teaching myself how to pickle things. Is that?
Wow.
Don't judge me, Alvarez. It could save your life. You don't even know. So I have that in my, I have jars of veggies and preserved meats. I also have that in my stash. Yeah, I'm ready.
Nice.
She's prepped.
You know they sell freeze-dried food
Ew.
and stuff that you just rehydrate it.
Ew. Have you tried that stuff?
I mean, I eat MREs.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right, that about wraps it up for today's episode on everything hurricane and preparedness and evacuations. So if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to Sergeant Gonzalez and his team over at Emergency Management. They are more than willing to answer whatever questions or help you prep. So they're a fantastic team and they know their stuff. Thank you, Sergeant Gonzalez, for being here. We really enjoyed it. And this is such an important topic, especially for us being in Florida. So we sincerely appreciate you coming by.
No, thank you guys for having me so much. We appreciate you guys bringing us in so that we can talk about hurricanes and natural disasters. And yes, exactly. As you said, if you guys, anyone is listening, if you guys need any help with anything Mercy related, please give us a call. Our number is 283-2010. We'd be very happy to help you guys out with and answer any questions you may have. How to create a bag, how to prep, how to set yourselves up for success during any type of event.
Thanks for tuning in this month, everybody. Stick around for next month's episode when we talk to the new base commander, Colonel Christian Berchthold and Command Chief Luke Lucas.